how do we think about improving our cloud security posture? So we have a lot of data to our disposal. We understand the activity in our networks, and that is really helpful. But sometimes you want to actually add controls in place on S3 buckets. So luckily, we have, along with our open source rules, we have a large set of open source policies that are based around CIS benchmarks and other security best practices suggested by Amazon and just in the greater community. And some of them are around similar concepts that I talked about today. So if we wanted to actually create a policy around bucket logging, we have that option by default. We can also ensure that our buckets aren't publicly readable. We can ensure that we have versioning enabled, which is important just for reliability and redundancy. And then we can also enforce things like secure access. So to give a demo of how this works, let's say that I'm going through and creating a bucket that has no security best practice applied to it. On the left side, I have Slack open, and I have Panther hooked up to Slack. So whenever we detect a insecure bucket, we'll go through and send you alerts, and you can actually optionally configure auto remediation as well. So the auto remediation is least privilege. It only has access to do very specific things on your S3 buckets. So I create this bucket, it's publicly readable, and it doesn't have versioning. It doesn't have anything that we would want in a really hardened and safe S3 bucket. So in a moment on the left side, we'll see some alerts come in because this is watching in real time. So it's about sub-minute latency. And then we see 4 checks that failed. And then we actually have automatic remediations hooked up to most of these checks. So as we start to see, as we go through the bucket, that now we have versioning enabled. And the next thing would be encryption. Now we have encryption enabled. And then now we have the public access block enabled. So you can see the power of real-time monitoring is really helpful, especially in things that have the capability to cause a lot of damage.